All right, fine. Devon Dampier might start over Zane Flores. I mean, the jury's still out on if he'd start over Haas Haney. All right, but I do have to admit, Devon Dampier, at least game one, avoided the dreaded DeQuan Finn labelization that he unfortunately got at Baylor this previous season, and that was my comp. So I have to retract that after seeing what Devon Dampier did. It was very impressive. Thankfully, there's tons of quarterbacks in this league that are very impressive, but I don't know if you saw this earlier today. On 3, put up the Heisman watch for week 2. All right? Let me know. Have you seen this one yet?
I have not.
Let me know when you hear a surprise or what is missing from this list. Number 1, Garrett Nussmeier. Number 2, Lenora Sellers. Number 3, Thomas Castellanos of Florida State.
He's good.
Number 4, John Mateer. Tied for 4th, Devon Dampier. Number 6, Carson Beck. Number 7, Caleb Downs. Number 8, Sam Levitt. Number 9, Ruben Bain. Number 10, Haynes King. What'd you think about that list? And did you notice anybody missing?
Not really. I mean, maybe a Josh Hoover, Cody? Is there someone else or who are you going to go with?
Or the dude that's 2-0 and number 1 in the Big 12.
Oh, Rocco Beck. Yeah, that's
mother
true.
Trucking Beck, man.
That's true. That's true. Rocco.
I do think that Josh Hoover picked up precisely where he left off last year. He looked amazing. But just like whenever I did my Big 12 Power Rankings show yesterday, to me, it only makes sense. I know Utah played phenomenal. I know TCU took care of business. But Iowa State is 2-0 with a win in the Big 12 Conference that is currently sitting atop the league. I do feel like that I don't agree with the 2 Big 12 teams playing to open the season in any country, but they do have that feather in their cap. And K-State still widely viewed as a talented enough team to still win this conference. Are their backs up against the wall a little bit? Could they potentially be putting themselves in a precarious position for this upcoming game that they're about to play? Yeah, because not an easy opponent predicated upon the amount of time you have to get ready. But no, Rocco Beck surprised me here. It really did. This is the best quarterback league in the country. Is some of this list posturing? And do you think it's an inevitability that guys like Hoover and Rocco do eventually get the love that they deserve?
I think it is. I think Rocco is a guy, and first of all, Rocco's been outstanding this year. I'm not shocked, I guess I should say, that he wasn't on there. There's a reason his name didn't pop to my head first. I think just Hoover, and part of that is out of sight, out of mind sometimes, right? And what have you done for me lately? I should say, I just watched Hoover go crazy against TCU, and I'm like, that might be one of the 10 best quarterbacks in college football right there. So that's where, for me, he was the first name that I thought of when we were just rolling through a couple of those as well. But there's other guys you mentioned on that list that we'll see how they do, how they fall, how they rise. Like a Tommy Castellanos. I think he deserved to be on there. He was fantastic against Alabama. But is he going to keep that up? He was not great at Boston College last year. So did he just have his moment week 1? It all came together. Can you stack him time and time again? That's the question. But Rocco Beck is definitely a guy who, I've been incredibly impressed by his play. I thought they don't win the game in Ireland without him putting the team on his back in certain scenarios. When the offensive line was getting cooked in the first half, they ran the ball well in the fourth quarter, but they were getting bullied early on. Beck with hanging in the pocket, making some tough throws, dealing with the bad weather, dealing with some bad snaps, even things like that. And he was just balling. I'm a big Rocco Beck fan. As a Utah guy, I'm glad Utah misses Iowa State this year, because I think it's a really good Cyclones team. I absolutely think they're going to take care of business against an Iowa team that is trying to tell the whole world they have an offense. And I'm not biting on that until I see it. I'm not biting on that till I see it. I've seen how good Iowa State is, and I think Iowa State's spectacular. I think right now, to me, do I think Utah is the best team in the Big 12? I do, but they've only played one game, and I'm also the Utah guy. I have zero issue with Iowa State being there. In a lot of ways, Iowa State has earned being there more because they have a much more impressive win to me than Utah does. So incredibly impressed with Iowa State. Matt Campbell does an amazing job. That defense looks legit. And unlike Kansas State, they took care of business against their FCS opponent. And I'm not just saying, I know Kansas State won, but they took care of business with, it was that thing where you come home from work and your suit's all beat up and ripped up and you're like, I got through the day. That was Kansas State, basically. Yeah. So I definitely think the Big 12 is a case for more guys on here for the Heisman odds. But hey, I'm just still fired up. You said Devon Dampier at 4. That just makes me smile ear to ear, Cody.
Well, and honestly, Devon Dampier and John Mateer, they're very comparable dudes. They had comparable performances. They have a lot of the same attributes that they bring to the table. The one thing I will say in watching Devon Dampier that I was like, okay, was his elusiveness. Like, dude, he, yeah, I mean, I don't want to praise the Utah dude too much at the moment, but yeah, I was watching that game, and I even mentioned to my friends watching, I was like, man, I'm going to have to eat some crow to JT and his people, because Devon Dampier, like, his ability to make people miss in such a confined space, that is you can't teach that. You cannot teach that. You can teach somebody to be a better quarterback, have more zip, have better reads, figure out the defense, isolate and identify the mic and everything like that. But that ability to have some internal Tyreek Hill, you can't teach that. It just comes. And yes, we saw him do it in New Mexico, which is why I gave him a hard time, because DeQuan Finn, put up comparable stats at Toledo before going to Baylor. And yeah, no, my apologies to DeQuan Finn, Devon Dampier, not in the same hemisphere. Obviously, with Haas Haney, Oklahoma State's quarterback, going down, it's going to be a difficult task for Zane Flores, making his first career start of all time in Eugene, Oregon, right? But I tell you, somebody that we did leave off this list, Sawyer Robertson.
Yeah,
and I've been giving Baylor fans a hard time. Right?
That's the only thing that's hard, Cody, is they lost. Like, I love Sawyer too, but when you lose, it's hard to be in there right now, right?
I've been telling Baylor fans, because they've been pumping #1 passing yards in the country. So I was like, guys, stop the cap, chill out. Yes, he did put up 420 some odd yards, but you guys lost, and he didn't manage the situations all the time like he could have. 48 attempts, that's a pretty healthy number. So I'm not saying that it's smoke and mirrors what Sawyer Robertson did statistically, but we all watched the game, right? Sawyer Robertson is typically better, or at least last year he played better at crucial times than he did in this previous ball game. They have an opportunity to make up for it, so all eyes will be kind of looking at him as well. And then you continuously go down this league. Another dude we haven't talked about yet is Jalen Daniels. Jalen Daniels looks like the Andel Kotelnicki 2023 version of Jalen Daniels. Don't know what happened last year. Maybe it was just the differentiation in offensive coordinators, but this version of Jalen Daniels looks like that dude that was a Heisman dark horse guy a couple seasons ago. Would you agree with that thus far?
I do. I've really loved what I've seen from him. The only thing I would pump the brakes on is being like he's back. I want to just wait till next week. I mean, again, Missouri. I mean, you talk about a leap up in competition from what he's seen so far. And I don't know how good Missouri is. I'll also add that. They, last year they had those expectations. They fell short. I still think Missouri is one of the 40 best teams in college football, probably maybe 50, who knows, but that'll be a test for them, especially on the road. But I want to see what Jalen Daniels is going to look like in that game before I elevate him all the way to there. And yet, like you said, with Sawyer, Sawyer was really good last week. If you want to tell me he's a top 10 quarterback in the country, I'd say okay, I can see that. I don't know if I would have him there at this moment based on how he looked, but I really like Sawyer. But you cannot tell me after a loss, unless you do something Herculean, that you need to be in the top 10 Heisman odds this early. Yeah. And it's just like I said, with his numbers were fine, but they were not like, oh my gosh, Heisman. Devon Dampier's was like barely any incompletions, 3 total touchdowns. Utah was 16 of 18 on third down. It was crazy. And Cody, he deserved a lot of the crap he got for the 12 interceptions last year, but just going back for Devon Dampier, going back and watching his play, some of those were mistakes by him. He was trying to force the ball. Other times it was just drops and bad bouncing off receivers' hands. Some things where I'm like, okay, when I watch New Mexico's offense, Devon Dampier is really good. Like, I feel very confident in his ability to clean up the turnovers. Doesn't mean he's never going to throw an interception this year, but clean up the turnovers. You mentioned the elusiveness. There is a reason he led college football last year in yards per carry at 7.5 yards. He had 1,000 yards rushing last year, over that, and he did some incredible things. Last thing I'll mention about Dampier before I throw it back to you, I've been saying all offseason, he's the only player in the country to throw for 2,500 passing yards, rush for 1,000 yards. Other QBs that have done that since 2016, Lamar Jackson, Kyler, Jalen Hurts, Jalen Daniels. Did those quarterbacks do it against P4 competition? Yeah, but Devon Dampier is the only other guy on that list. That's why I felt like he was ready. Paired that with the fact that he looked good against P4 competition last year, and I was really impressed with him. And Cody, it is just music for my ears hearing you eating crow this early in the season. Gosh, you're the best. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
It's part of the gig. It's part of the gig. And another name that we didn't even talk about was Baron Morton. I think a healthy Baron Morton is in some of these same conversations. The question is, can Baron Morton stay healthy? Because he hasn't been able to do it yet. and he's already banged up again, right? First game into the season. So if Barron Morton can stay healthy, I think he's at the very upper echelon of the same exact conversation. But a lot of these guys are going to have opportunities to prove it this Saturday. So let's talk about some of these Big 12 matchups, buddy. But first, we have to remind all you fine folks out here, do not waste money. Don't just throw it away. You're going to have to fill up your gas tank at some point in time, anywho, so you might as well get some monetary assistance with it. Oklahoma State fans, Utah fans, if you're paying for gas and you're not getting anything in return, you're screwing the pooch here. Get real cash back every time you fill up with the free Upside app. Simply download the free Upside app in the App Store or the Google Play Store right now and start earning cash back at the pump today. Use our limited time promo code FOOTBALL to get an extra 25 cents back per gallon on your first fill up. You can make up to $300 a year by simply doing what you have to do anyways. Next time you're driving by the pump, just envision what it could be like if you could get a little bit of this thing back. Is the juice worth the squeeze? It will be if you have Upside. Make sure that you have the most opportunities in savings when you download the free Upside app today. It felt too good to be true, right, JT? I think you could probably agree on that one. But my wife uses it on a consistent basis. So don't let this offer drive right by you. Download the free Upside app now and use our promo code FOOTBALL for a limited 25 cents back per gallon bonus. That is promo code FOOTBALL. Offers may vary by user and location. Make sure that you head on over to upside.com for terms and conditions to get the money back that you already got to spend anyways.